Greetings, my friends. It's me. I might sound a little congested, getting over a flu. I had a 24-hour that kicked my ass. My apologies to the people in St. Louis. We had to cancel a show Saturday night, which might be the first time I've canceled a show. I can't remember having canceled another show in my life. Is that possible? Like, I don't think I've ever canceled a show before. So this was a big deal. And I'm sorry. We'll make it up. We'll do it soon. I hope everybody got the message and didn't show up to the theater. But who knows? I don't know how these things are handled. That's up to Chris Denman, who produces the podcast and also is producing the show. But we'll do it another time. If I'm distracted today, I can't believe I'm saying these words out of my mouth in my face, but I'm enjoying the NCAA women's finals in the March Madness basketball. And holy shit, it was a good game. It's a bit of a blowout now, but there's some women hitting some three-pointers that are pretty impressive. A woman named Jasmine Carson on LSU. First of all, it's kind of funny because Iowa has an all-white team. I'm not exaggerating. All of the starters are white. And LSU, who they're playing, is all women of color is the way to say it. Is that the way to say it? Or can you say black women? I don't know. But it's a racist game. And it is going to determine, I think, which is the better race. I think that's the way a lot of people are looking at it in Iowa, is this will affirm something for them if Iowa wins. But they're down right now by 21 points, which could mean, there's a girl in it who, she's pretty great, Caitlin Clark, and she just dunked a three-pointer. That's her fifth in the game. This other girl, Jasmine, is 8 for 8 from the field and 5 for 5 on 3 points. Does anyone care? I don't know, but sorry, I'm watching that in the background. Great guest today, Jeremiah Watkins, who's a guy who I love. He hangs out at the Comedy Store. Been a regular there for a long time, and he's part of that the what do they call it? The roast battle. He's part of the wave on the roast battle, and he's part of Kill Tony. So he's very much entrenched in the store world. Good dude. I'll talk to him in a minute. Coming up, you're not going to believe this, but my 1,000th podcast is coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm very excited about it. I've got a special surprise guest, somebody who means a lot to me, who probably means a lot to you, and we're going to celebrate and do a special show. I've been doing this for 13 and a half years, and I love it. I was looking at my early shows. I was getting a little nostalgic. And in my first 2 months of the show, my guests were Dave Navarro, Tom Arnold, Jimmy Kimmel, Rob Corddry, Mark Maron, Andy Dick, porn star Belladonna, Joe Rogan, Dave Attell, Bill Burr, Greg Giraldo, Sarah Silverman, and Andy Richter. That was like the first 3 months of the show. And it's been all downhill from there. Now, it's been great since then. We've had some great guests this year. Tim Dillon was on last week, and I've had a bunch of good people. So anyway, get ready for that 1,000th show. That's going to be fun. I got on ChatGPT. I don't know how many people are aware of ChatGPT. It's an AI platform that will write things for you, either in your voice or a voice that you ask it to write in. It is pretty profound. It is a seismic shift in the way people are communicating. I mean, just take college students. They are literally saying, write me an essay on Moby Dick from the point of view of the whale, and it will write you an essay. Now, not that you'll hand that in, but you just got yourself a pretty good first draft. It's pretty well written. Here, you can ask it for anything, and it writes it in seconds, and it's free. So here's what I wrote. I said, write me a monologue for the Fitzdog radio podcast. And ChatGPT knows who I am. It is It has listened to 997 of my podcasts. It has listened to every podcast I've ever been on. It has listened to my specials. It has read my tweets. This thing, it is the synthesis of all data on the internet melded into an artificial intelligence which writes in whatever style. Anyway, so I said, write me a monologue for the Fitzdog radio podcast. And here's what it said. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fitzdog Radio, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of comedy, entertainment, and everything in between. Today, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while now, and that is the state of the comedy industry. As we all know, the past year and a half has been a challenging time for the world, and comedy industry is no exception. With the pandemic causing live performances to come to a halt, many comedians have had to adapt to new ways of performing, whether it be through virtual shows or outdoor performances. But even as things begin to return to some sense of normalcy, it's clear that the comedy industry has been forever changed. The pandemic has highlighted some of the flaws in the industry, from the lack of diversity and inclusivity to the power dynamics between comedians and bookers. All right, I don't know about that last sentence, but isn't that crazy? Like, it goes on and on. It talks about, comedians being edgy, and it has me encouraging them to stay edgy. And then I said, write me a breakup text to my lesbian lover. And it said, hey, parentheses, girlfriend's name, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I've come to the difficult decision that we need to break up. I care about you a lot, but I don't feel like our relationship is working out anymore. I know that we've been together for a while and it's going to be hard, but I think it's best for both of us to move on. I hope that we can stay friends and support each other in the future. Take care. I don't know if I would end a breakup note with take care. That sounds a little almost hostile, almost passive aggressive to the point of being hostile. And then I said, please tell I need a text to my Christian dad telling him I'm transitioning to be a man. Hey, Dad, I wanted to talk to you about something that's been on my mind. I know this might be hard for you to hear, but I want to be honest with you. I've been struggling with my gender identity for a long time, and after a lot of soul searching and reflection, I've decided to transition to male. I hope you can support me in this decision, and I understand that this is something that I need to do for myself. I understand that this might go against some of your beliefs, but I hope we can find a way to navigate this together. I love you, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Now, they fucking nailed that. And by the way, do it with a text. If you're gonna go through all that effort on yourself, you don't have a lot of time to sit down with loved ones and have a conversation. You text it. I asked for a stand-up routine about abortion, and it told me that abortion is not funny, and that there are people that have had abortions that wouldn't appreciate this material, and that stand-up comedy is supposed to be light and fun. So it doesn't really have its head wrapped around comedy that well. I tried to ask it for a suicide note, and it told me to get help. It's all tracking me. You talk about mining people. This shit is literally telling you that it mines you, and then having you write stuff. Anyway, all right, let's move on. So I've been sick, and so all I did was watch sports all week, and I sat on the couch under a blanket and watched sports. I watched Penguins-Bruins game. Holy shit. First of all, the Bruins, if you don't follow hockey, the Boston Bruins are on track to to win more games in a season than any team in history. And now they're 4 games away. They were 5 games away before they beat Pittsburgh. And Pasternak had a hat trick, which was pretty exciting. Great fucking game. It was went down to the last few minutes of the third period. And here's what's really funny. is there's a player, Charlie McAvoy, who plays for the Bruins, who is getting married to the coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. This guy Sullivan, who was he used to coach the Bruins, and so he basically got beat. His team got beat by the guy who's fucking his daughter. Yeah. What was it like the first time that guy had sex with the coach's daughter? And I wonder, he wasn't on the Bruins then. They met, the couple, McAvoy and this girl, her name is Kylie. They met while at Boston University, my alma mater. He was playing on the hockey team, and they started going at it. Isn't that crazy? And now they're getting married. I'm watching that series F1. I'll have to talk about this another time, but I'm watching the Formula One series on Netflix, and it's one of the best television shows that's ever been put together, and it's got to be one of the most expensive. They go to, I don't know how many countries, a lot of countries, with 50 cameras, all high def, 4K, crazy. If you don't like Formula One, it doesn't matter. My wife doesn't like Formula One, and she's as into it as I am. And the players are all gorgeous, and they got to be getting so much tail, I'm guessing. They're all these European studs, Spanish and Italian and Finnish, and they're beautiful. And the coaches are kind of studs too. It's very manly. It's a very manly show. Watched the Dodgers last night, and they went ahead and they won. It was a blowout. I think it was like 9-1. Thompson had 3 home runs. One of them was a grand slam. One was a 3-run homer, and one of them was a solo hummer. A solo hummer. You got to be pretty flexible for a solo hummer. And Kershaw was pitching, got like 9 strikeouts in like 5 innings. All right, enough sports. Let's talk about overheards. Let's do some overheards. It's funny because I was walking down the beach yesterday, and there was a film crew, and they were taping somebody, and they had logos for their film crew said Overheard. And I think that there's like a podcast that stole my Overheard idea. And by the way, so did Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon started doing Overheards on The Tonight Show. And I literally started doing Overheards 13 years ago on my podcast. So do I care? I could not care less. There's X number of ideas in the world, and there's so much media right now. Ideas are going to overlap. I don't give a fuck. Mike Hulme. Is that really your name? Mike Hulme? I saw, what do you see, at a Trader Joe's in Palo Alto, which I think is Silicon Valley. One older guy walks up to another older guy. First guy says, "Hey, man, just let me know if you need any kind of help. I'm homeless too, so I know how hard it is out there." Second guy looks at him and says, "I'm not homeless." Yeah, that's the thing in Silicon Valley is I think that guy probably owns a startup. He's probably worth a cool bill, but he dresses like a homeless guy because that's the thing there. That's how you do it. You wear like jeans with holes in them and hesh. I think they call it dressing hesh. This one comes from Ryan P. Clark of Worcester, Mass., who says, "I've also gotten a hemorrhoid from a bidet." Thank you. Thank you. I have a hemorrhoid, which I got because my bidet blasted hard. I accidentally turned the knob too far, and I've got a hemorrhoid from it. So he said, adult daughter says, "Dad, you want some sunflower seeds?" Dad says, "I love them. You know what we used to call these? Pumpkin seeds." Adult daughter says, "But were those from a pumpkin?" Dad said they were bigger. All right, so he's senile. That's the conversation that you have. I have those conversations with my mother now, and I basically just don't correct. You don't correct. For what? Are we trying to train them for the last 6 years of their life? Let them enjoy those 6 years. Let them just talk. Who cares a fucking pumpkin seed or a pistachio nut? Whatever it is, let them enjoy. Speaking of enjoying, this weekend, Louisville, Kentucky. If you live in the area, come out to Laugh Louisville, April 6th through the 8th. Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, April 13th through 15th. Levity Live in Oxnard, April 22nd. Grand Comedy in Escondido, April 28th and 29th. The Blue Note in Columbia, Missouri, May 19th. Argosy Casino in Kansas City, May 20th. And then Laugh Boston, June 16 through 17. Tickets at Fitzdog.com. Go for it, people. Come see some live comedy. Love to see you. Also, look, the spring is here, folks. It's time for you to enjoy the great outdoors and not the indoors of your kitchen. Factor's here to help you do that. It's America's number one ready-to-eat meal kit. Ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. The best part is you keep it in your fridge. You don't even put it in the freezer. This food has never been frozen, and it only takes 2 minutes to heat up because it's not frozen. Not that the extra minute makes that big a difference, but you know what? It kind of does. I kind of love that it's 2 minutes and that the food is unbelievable. Like, it really does. You taste the difference. I had chicken Alfredo pasta this week, which is like, how many steps would that have taken me? You know, boil the pasta, make the chicken, make a cheese, like all these different things. I would have had to measure things. I would have had to go to the store. This way, you just boom, boom, boom. It takes me about 20 minutes if I were not doing this, it would take me 20 minutes to just to prep before I even started cooking. Now it takes me 0 minutes. So forget the grocery store. You don't have to do that. You don't have to clean up. That's another great thing. They've got dietitian-approved calorie-smart meals with around less than 550 calories per serving. Keto, calorie-smart, vegan, protein plus. I got that from my mom. I got this for my mom, and it's put weight on her because she needed to gain weight. She's down to like 90 pounds. It's cheaper than takeout, so why are you not typing right now? Here's what you do. Go to factormeals.com/Fitzdog50, the number 50. Use code Fitzdog50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code Fitzdog50 at factormeals.com/Fitzdog50 to get 50% off your first box. All right, listen. Also, I wanted, if you're in New York City, April 16th, and you want to see some great comedy, Gotham Comedy Club is doing a benefit. It's helping out getting essential services to impoverished, orphaned, vulnerable, and underserved youth, administered by Sister Senkanish Gabrielle Mariam and her staff. It's the More fundraiser. My friend Mark Krantz is putting it together. So head down there, or just make a tax-deductible donation to morechildren.org. Okay. My guest, as I said earlier, he's part of the wave. He's got podcasts, Scissor Brothers, Jeremiah Wonders. I think you've seen him on Rogan. He's got a new special out. We're going to talk about that. I know you're going to love him. Here's Jeremiah Watkins. And we're here with Jeremiah Watkins.
Woo, coming in.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah. That's how we do it on Fitzdog Radio.
Yeah, just get right into it. I love it.
This isn't Mark Maron. We're not laying back with a cat, getting comfortable.
Also, we don't have past beef with each other.
I do.
Oh.
We have, but we've gotten over it. I mean,
we've gotten through it.
We started together in Boston.
We did, you know. It was a different time then.
You were there?
Yeah.
You were 1990. You were how old?
I was a couple years old.
Couple years old.
Yeah.
So this is a career that you really knew early on. Like,
Yeah. Pretty early on, like my mom, you know, she had funny boobs.
Yeah.
When I was milking her, you know, straight into my mouth, I was like, this is, you know, straight from the tap, wanted to get funny quick. And, you know, she's like, head out to Boston. That's where they make funny people.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you got there, did you have to wean off the breastfeeding to do stand-up comedy? Did the microphone become like a breast to you?
Well, you ever do the thing where sometimes you have a bottle of water on stage and you start talking into the bottle of water and then sucking on the mic?
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah. It
sometimes.
gets confusing because there's two tits.
Yeah.
The mic and the water bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. How were your mom's boobs?
How were they? They were great.
Were they big? Because you're a Kansas kid. I picture these Kansas women as all supple, big boobs.
Imagine cows in the field.
Yes, right.
Same thing. Just big old.
Mom had 8 tits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and us kids loved them.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have to fight for a nipple. Yeah,
No.
Everybody gets their own.
You know, and then sometimes you get a little bit too comfortable because then the real world, you know, other women, just the two.
2.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Feels incomplete.
A little bit.
Although, you know, there's a second hole to fuck. I just found it.
Wait, there's a second one?
Yeah.
What is it, though?
It's second pussy, I guess. It smells a little funny, but it feels great.
Feels good?
Yeah.
Do you think my wife has one?
Well, just check. When you find the first one,
Okay.
just go about about your nose, about the size of your nose. Go that much further.
So pretty far.
It's pretty
far away from
yes.
the front pussy.
Yeah. And then you gotta do a little more foreplay with that one. It doesn't open up for you the way that first one does.
Yeah, because, you know, after a while you get kind of good at, like, you know, knowing the mechanics and how to open it up. Like, kind of like a good old safe.
Yeah, or a clam.
Yeah, or a clam.
You steam it a little bit and it just opens up. You throw a little heat on it and boom, it's all yours.
But you're saying the other one's a little harder to get into.
It's harder to get into, but so worth it.
Does it open up on anniversaries?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it does.
Yeah?
And you know how some things you add like WD-40 to open them up?
Sure.
Alcohol. You add to this one.
Just loosens it right up?
Loosens it right up. Yeah. And if you have magic mushrooms, it'll become like the first hole.
Is that what the third eye is referring to?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And third eye blind is referring to the moment you orgasm in that hole because your eyes you're squinting, they're
and everything
shut.
Closes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, I just heard a Third Eye Blind song driving to my office this morning. And I'll tell you what, people shit on them. There's bands that get shit on, and
I
it's
love
like,
Third Eye
no,
Blind.
they're fucking great.
I love them.
It's easy to make fun of them, but I mean, just so catchy.
Yeah. What was the song? Semi-Charmed Life?
Yeah, Semi-Charmed Life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's one of their big ones.
Yeah, because I went to the K-Rock Christmas Festival one year, and they had like a bunch of great bands. And Smashing Pumpkins closed it out.
Yeah.
But Third Eye Blind came out, and they came out to that song, and I fucking lit up. And my wife hates them, and now I hate my wife.
What does she hate about those? Everything?
She's from New York City. She's very cynical, and she's a snob about music that's not angsty.
See, us Boston guys, we know our music.
You're a Boston guy?
No.
Oh, you son of a bitch! Don't you go back on me?
Since I was two.
Yeah.
I saw them in concert once, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean,
Great drummer.
Great drummer.
Yeah.
And everybody was having such a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's just, that era of music is just, it's like feel good alt rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of anthemic sometimes.
Yeah. You know what? Give me some Sugar Ray. I'll take Sugar Ray any day.
Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, I think, the second guest I ever had on my podcast, and we're going back to 2010, I guess.
Yeah.
Why am I forgetting his name? Mark McGrath.
Yeah.
Great guest.
Yeah, great.
Should have him on your podcast.
Too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he do the rounds?
No, but he would do it. He would do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a sweet guy.
All right.
Yeah.
I would love to have him on.
Who's your favorite guest, Joe? Your podcast is called, well, you have two. One is called Scissor Brothers, and the other one is called Jeremiah Wonders.
Yeah.
And now the Scissor Brothers, you don't have guests on, right?
We do occasionally. We've more recently started having some guests on that, but we've done a lot of just solo episodes with me and Stevie Weeby.
Stevie Weeby.
Yeah.
The Weebster.
The Weebster. Have you ever met him?
No.
He is a shade. It's so interesting. Like, how long have you known Bobby Lee?
15 years.
Yeah. He's like a bizarro, but his own very, very unique Lee brother. Like he's...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you know they're brothers?
No shit.
That's his actual brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It's interesting to me how few people in the comedy community actually know that's his actual brother. Because he doesn't go by...
And he does stand-up as well?
I'm trying to get him to do more, but I don't want to pressure him if he doesn't want to do it.
We don't need more comedians right now, especially if he's as funny as Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
He's very funny. He's super, super unique and has one of those energies about him where people are intrigued right away.
Yeah.
Just like just the way he like kind of carries himself
Right.
is kind of like a natural character.
Yeah.
Way more of a character in a different... Well, Bobby's a character. But he's more of a character when you meet him. You're like, oh, this is interesting. He's an interesting guy.
Does he have a strained relationship with his brother? Because every brother comedy, Kevin Brennan and Neil Brennan. Actually, no, Dennis Regan and Brian Regan are tight. Chris Rock, I don't
Chris
know.
and Tony, yeah.
I don't know what Tony and Chris's relationship is. I think it's good. And then there's another brother now that's doing
I've
it,
seen
right?
Tony kill so hard.
Yeah, Tony can kill hard.
Like,
yeah,
crazy hard.
Yeah.
Like I was like to the point where I was in the back halls of the store and I heard rumbling in the main room. I'm like, who is on right now? And I walked in the main room and he's just destroying.
Yeah, Tony's strong. He's very in the moment on stage. He addresses what's happening at the time. He's fucking gorgeous. That doesn't hurt. Being a really good-looking comedian.
Yeah, it can put it over the top.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
it
Sebastian,
really can.
who's the hottest? Who are the three hottest male and female comedians? Let's just get that into the podcast right now.
Well, the one who's nearing the top of the charts right now. Do you know the comedian Matt Rife?
Yeah, he's fucking dreamy. That's actually a detriment. He's actually so good looking that I think people go like, oh, fuck this guy. I think you get angry at people that are that good looking.
I think people do as well. I think that the women who are coming to see him love it, and I think the boyfriends are pissed.
They're pissed.
Yeah. They've got to be.
Yeah. And then I watched his stand-up expecting to hate him, and I thought he was actually very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's had to deal with that a lot with comedians being like, oh, this guy's going to suck because of the way he looks. And then he's like, okay, he's got jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a whole thing about woke. He did a special, and his opening stuff about being the woke culture was very funny. All right, so he's your number one. Obviously, you're like blushing.
He's my hall pass.
That'd be so funny if you and your wife talk about hall passes and you pick a guy.
Yeah, she's like, wait, what? I'm like, oh, I thought we could choose whatever we wanted.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know which hallway you meant. I thought you meant the one at the at Ramrod's in Santa Monica in West Hollywood.
Back hallway. Okay, now that that's off the table, all right, I'll choose somebody else.
Sure. Hey, what's his name? David Feldman had this joke. He's like, me and my wife were having a conversation, and I was like, we both had the same hall pass now for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yours is Tom Brady, and mine is, Sandra Bullock. And I think we should update them. And she's like, all right, what's your new one? And he goes, The Babysitter.
Like, don't make it a real person.
Yeah, right,
you know.
Right.
Yeah. My
right.
wife said at one point, we were talking like different people, not really necessarily, I don't even know how this came up in conversation, not necessarily even hall pass, but she said something, she was watching Sarah Silverman and she's like, oh, I just love her. And she goes, you know what? I would let you sleep with Sarah Silverman.
Really?
And I'm like, that's too close in my world. That's a weird thing to say to me. She's like, I just love her so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's weird. That's a little bit too real.
Do you think it's because she would want to brag that you slept with Sarah Silverman?
Maybe she loves her that much. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. So top 3 guys. Yeah.
Top 3 guys. Okay.
You got, what's his name?
Matt Rife is number 1.
Number 1.
Top 3 good-looking dudes in comedy right now.
I mean, you got to throw Theo in there, right?
Probably. Jeff Dye is another one. He's like a good-looking dude.
Yeah. He seems like he wouldn't wash his penis that well, though.
You hear that, Jeff Dye? Wash your dick.
Yeah, he's cute. He's cute.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Sebastian is, but he's kind of ethnic. You have to be into that like greasy, olive-skinned. Yeah, that's a thing. That's not for everybody.
Right.
Theo's for everybody.
I mean, salt of the earth, man.
Yeah,
salt of the earth.
And then Callan's not hard on the eyes. Good
He's
body.
really in good shape.
He's in great shape.
Crazy good shape.
Yeah.
Especially for his age. Like, it's nuts how he's kept up.
Right.
Yeah.
His nuts? He's kept his nuts up?
Yeah, he's kept his nuts.
What does he
good.
do? Like, what kind of exercises?
Probably, like, kettlebells on the balls and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Kettlebells.
Kettlebells.
Yeah.
Kettle chips, you a fan?
Kettle chips? Yeah, I love kettle chips.
Yeah, jalapeno kettle chips. Some of my favorite. Miss Vicky's. Oof.
Yeah. Cape Cod chips, you ever have those?
No.
They don't make them anymore. They used to, they were the precursor to the kettle.
We talking discontinued chips now?
Well, you were in Boston back during the Cape Cod chip days.
Yeah.
Too young to eat them because you had no teeth.
Yeah, I just was, skin and milk.
Yeah. Skim milk.
Skim milk.
And then as far as women, we shouldn't probably pick women because then it's like two white guys objectifying female comics.
Yeah, let's talk about more dudes. I'm trying to rack my brain. It's really weird. Yeah, it's just. I don't know if I should say this on this podcast. I was watching Owen Smith last night.
Yeah, were you?
And I was following him. I was like a couple behind him. It was like Owen Smith, Tom Rhodes, and me in the OR. And I was watching Owen, and I don't know if it was the pants he was wearing or what, but this dude's dick is huge.
No kidding.
Like, huge.
Wow.
Like, to the point where I'm like, does he know what kind of pants he's wearing? I was like distracting how big it was.
Well, he's got to be 6'3", right?
Yeah. I'm 6'3", but I'm like, that's not my dick.
Yeah. Damn, good for you, Owen.
Yeah.
Shit, he's got big dick energy for sure.
Yeah.
He's very confident on stage. I saw him the other night just absolutely destroy. And I hate to say it, he reminds me of Bill Cosby.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because he's got such a deliberate, slow, subtle delivery. It's powerful, but it's subtle at the same time. Little shit is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who, when he's killing and I have to follow, I'm like, oh, I got to reset it a little bit more to my frequency in here.
Yeah.
Because it's a different kind of cadence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's drawing them in. Mm-hmm. You're going at them.
Yeah.
You're going, motherfucker, here it comes.
Right.
And they're used to going like, and they're too vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually me converting people. I'm like, yep, it's going to be... this is not. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going there. We're doing it.
Yeah. There's gonna take a couple minutes where they got to acclimate, which is good. That's always good. Yeah. So congratulations on the special. I watched it. It's very funny.
Oh, thank you.
Where'd you tape it?
Madison, Wisconsin, Comedy on State.
Oh, that's a great club.
One of my favorites.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, so good.
And so you got those Madison, Wisconsin crowds, and they're, you think of Wisconsin as like, I guess Wisconsin's a purple state, but then Madison is very blue.
Right.
Not that you do politics, but it does have an effect on how people laugh.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But some of my favorite crowds are, can be super red.
Texas crowds can be awesome.
Texas crowds are amazing.
Yep.
I end up going to Texas more than any of the other regions throughout the year because there's 5 different scenes there.
Hyenas. You go to Hyenas?
Love Hyenas.
Yeah.
San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin. That's crazy.
Right.
It's different people who are coming out to all those shows.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different, thoughts and belief systems too in all those different areas. So it's interesting, like you say, those Hyenas crowds, when you're killing in those rooms, they're giving you everything.
But they're not brilliant.
No.
But then you've got,
I've had some bad heckling situations in those kind of situations. Yeah.
But then you go to Austin and they're super smart, but then you look at who came out of the Houston scene with Kinnison and Brett Butler, Bill Hicks,
Ralphie May later on, right?
Ralphie May. Yeah. It's a powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
But that group was called what the fuck were they called? There was a name for Kinnison and Hicks's kind of class of guys and,
the Outlaws
and women.
Of comedy?
Yeah, the
right.
Outlaws.
Yeah.
And then there was that other guy that was good friends with Kinnison and Hicks.
Carl LaBeouf?
Yeah, Carl LaBeouf. Yeah. This kid knows his history. I like that. Young kid, but knows his history.
Hey, I'm a fan.
I was thinking about, wouldn't it be cool to open up a college? Because I know there's some colleges now where you can actually get a degree in comedy, like Emerson in Boston. But what if you opened a legitimate comedy college and it had performance, stand-up performance, acting performance, writing for TV, history of comedy, improvisational comedy, sketch comedy, and you would take classes and it'd be a 2-year school. But here's the thing, you got to finish. You make a commitment when you join that you're not going to fucking jump off and go tour because, Sebastian asked you to go on the road. You commit to this 2-year thing.
Yeah.
And you get the comics in LA or New York, wherever it's set up, to come in and, speak.
Yeah.
And then you get some great professors who are ex-comics, ex-writers to teach it. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
It could work in theory, but I think with stand-up and some of that other stuff, I don't know. Everybody has mixed opinions on whether there's some great people who started off in stand-up classes, but I think that you really, for that, really have to just hit the open mic.
Just got to do it.
For improv, I did a lot of improv training. Yeah. But I used the improv training.
Were you a Second City guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, did Second City. Did everything at Second City LA. They just closed recently, which is kind of a bummer.
No shit.
They closed down Second City LA.
What the? Why'd that happen?
In my opinion, they were always, it was so weird. Chicago, they would come and check out to see what was going on with LA, and they always seemed like they were jealous and nervous that their own creation was going to exceed the Chicago main stage. Okay. So what happened while I was there, I was interning, I was editing videos and all this stuff. While they were there, one of the heads of Second City comes and visits and sees that the network, the Second City Network, was a YouTube channel that we had started building and stuff, had started to take off, and multiple videos started to go viral. And they literally pulled it from LA and said, nope, the Second City Network's only going to exist in Chicago.
No shit.
They were so worried
that
all of their main company and their resident company and touring company would be like, oh, I can go viral if I move out to LA and do stuff on their YouTube, that they cut their own legs out from underneath them and then they put it back to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was a weird call.
Damn.
Yep.
Because did Second City start in Chicago and then didn't it open in Toronto after that?
Chicago, then it was Toronto, then Detroit, and then Los Angeles after that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they had the Torcos and ETCs, and then they had the Las Vegas. Jason Sudeikis was on the Las Vegas resident company for a little bit. I've got this awesome old school poster in my office that is Sudeikis as a young dude and a couple other guys with the Vegas phone number to call and book your event for a party or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about you a little bit because you're new to this. Is your first time on the podcast. I'm very excited that you're on. And if I bring in a new comic, I feel like I should talk about their life a little bit.
Sure.
And you grew up in Kansas.
I did.
In a city or out in the country?
City. Suburb kid. Yeah.
Suburb of what?
Of Kansas City, so it was Overland Park.
Overland Park. There's a club there.
Yeah.
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 What's it called?
Well, it was Stanford and Sons. They just changed it to different owners. I don't know who's running it actually anymore.
Wasn't Stanford and Sons run by like they were a little shady, those guys, right?
Oh, dude, so strange.
They owed a lot of people money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a lot of drugs. Like,
was it mafia?
They're all dead now. It's very weird.
Was it mafia?
I don't know. I think that they were more just cokeheads.
Yeah.
That kind of mafia. I think that's what it boiled down to.
Yeah.
This dude would do time at the top of shows, one of those kind of owners sometimes. They would do raffles, then he'd tell jokes. It was so rough.
God. And that's,
so you're just backstage and you're like, why are my friends and family listening and watching this right now?
Right.
Yeah.
So and that's where you started doing stand-up? Was it the first place you ever did it?
I started doing stand-up in L.A., actually.
Oh, okay.
And then I would go back to Kansas City and just do like hometown shows over Christmas, and that's where I ran into the Glazers because they were kind of the gatekeepers of Kansas City at the time.
Yeah.
Now there's a great club there. Have you ever played the Comedy Club of Kansas City?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dustin Kaufman runs that. That's where I filmed my first special was at his club.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's a great room.
It is a great room. I like it. It was built for stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start doing stand-up in L.A. You're how old?
I was, I moved out here at 20 and then waited till I was 21 to start doing stand-up because I was like, I'll be able to get into all the bars and everything when I was 21. Won't have to worry about performing and then going outside immediately. I didn't even know that was possible at the time.
So you didn't go to college?
I did 2 years at, and I got my Associate of the Arts at Johnson County Community College.
Hey, go Blue Jays.
Yeah. The Cavaliers was
the Cavaliers.
Was the
That's good. So what did you learn there? Anything that stays with you?
You know what? Honestly, it was more about figuring out how to be an adult in that time.
Yeah.
Those 2 years really shaped me quickly because some of the busiest times of my life was when I was working morning radio in Kansas City at an alt rock station. That's why
you were a PA?
No, I was a call screener and on-air talent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everybody that was my age and older hated me at the station because they're like, how did this young guy land this job?
Right.
There were dudes who were 10 years older than me. They were interning in the prize room and downstairs, and they were so pissed that
How'd you get it?
It was through a music video that I submitted. They were looking for on-air talent for a man on the street that would go out there and be fearless, interview strangers with a Zoom recorder. That's all. Like it was like old school reporting.
Yeah,
I'd go out there and they were running auditions for this man on the street gig, and I had missed the deadline because I just found out about it. I'm like, hey, I see that you guys. I'm so sorry I missed this. I just stumbled upon this. Can I send you anything? Sent him some comedic music videos and sketches, and it was one music video. It was called A Love Ballad for Oprah. It was me professing my love for Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
I made this like rap music video, and this dude loved it, and he had me in. He's like, I'll send you out on the street here's your assignment. Get random people, interview them, see if you can get funny stuff and bring it back. And they aired it and they liked it. And then I happened to, the person who was screening calls happened to got fired around the same time. And he's like, do you want her job? I was like, yeah. And it was perfect, prepared meets opportunity,
right.
That whole thing.
Nice.
It was great.
And so would you sit in or they just sent you out?
I would sit in. I would sit in. I would screen calls with them, and then sometimes it'd send me out on assignment. But that was my first real job in the industry where I was like, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
There'd be some bands and different celebrities and stuff who would call in or who would come in person, and my mind was blown that I, in Kansas, was starting to see a sliver of the entertainment industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Any comics come in?
Not that I recall at the time. We didn't have many comics. Johnny Dare, he was the 98.9 The Rock. He's the main hard rock Kansas City guy.
Yeah.
He would have more comics come in and would call into his show, but not many comics called into the alt rock station.
Right. So did you think maybe I'll go into radio at that point? Or you kind of knew you wanted to go into comedy? One
of the best things that happened to me before I got too comfortable in that market was my boss got fired, who was the DJ of the station.
Yeah.
Because the ratings weren't good enough, as a lot of morning radio is. They turn over a lot.
Sure.
And the lady that came in, I interviewed for her, and she goes, because you worked for him, you'll never be on air for me, ever.
Yeah.
And she just laid it down, and I was like, oh, I got to get out of Kansas City.
Right.
Because I could have easily been that guy because I was starting to get a little notoriety around town. People knew my on-air name. My on-air name was Stedman, Oprah Winfrey's husband.
Yeah.
So, and they would do different bits with me that would do well, and people were like, oh yeah, I hear you. So I was starting to be like, oh, it's working. I'm doing the thing, but you can also, it's the big fish in the small pond mentality where you can be known in a market and then go out of that for comedy and everybody's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was one of those blessings for sure that somebody was like, it's never happening. And she stayed there on air for over 10 years.
Wow.
So had I been like, no, maybe it's gonna, it would have been a mess.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you moved out to LA. Did you have money to settle in when you came out here?
I had $4,000
that
I had saved.
Yeah.
I remember I had $2,000 in my checking and $2,000 in the savings.
There you go. Diversify.
Exactly. Got to diversify the portfolio. And I was like, this is enough to buy me a little wiggle room.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
And you had a car.
And I had a car.
Yeah.
My car was paid for. I was working morning radio, a car wash job.
Washing the cars?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
No shit.
For years I did that.
Oh,
I was one of those guys. And I was in shape.
Yeah. That's a workout.
Some of the best shape of my life.
I probably had a tan too.
I was 5 shades darker than I am now because I worked outside year round.
Yeah.
And in Kansas City, it would be the extreme. So it'd be 110. And then it would be, I remember being 17 and us still washing cars.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. People still coming in because they have a membership there. And we're like, your car's probably going to freeze as soon as it comes out. They're like, yeah, but you'll get the sludge off. So run it through. And we're like, all right. And then as soon as we try to dry it, it's like, just ice immediately. And we're like, it's frozen. They're like, good enough.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to wash cars.
Really?
Well, mine was more of a detailing. I worked at a country club.
We did detailing there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked at a country club as a parking attendant, and then I would convince the members that had really nice cars that on my days off, I could take their car to my house, hand wash it, wax it, upholstery, shampoo, the whole thing.
Doing a carnauba wax? What are you doing?
Turtle wax, just turtle wax. We're not getting fancy here. It's the 80s. And armor all the tires. And,
of course.
Yeah.
Got to do that.
And but the best part was then I would have a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari or a Porsche, and I would drive through town. And after I shined it, after it was night, and just turn heads. It was awesome.
Yeah. The worst detailing job I did, somebody spilled a gallon of nacho cheese in their carpet. And they're like, can you shampoo this out? And they go, Jeremiah, you want this one? I was like, are they gonna tip, because this is horrible.
Yeah.
And they're like, they've already said that they're gonna tip well.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And it was sucking up cheese, just literally liquid cheese over and over.
Yeah.
Where to the point where I was sucking so much up where later I was coughing up cheese later in the night. It was so disgusting. Just from the fumes of the cheese, of sucking it up and steaming it.
Right.
The steam was mixing. It was so gross. I was hawking up cheese loogies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn.
Yeah, that was one of the worst ones.
How was the tip?
It was pretty good. It was like $50 cash.
Yeah.
Which is like a 50% tip or something like that. Like it was a good tip for what it was.
Yeah, that's good work. Yeah, I mean, when you think about jobs that give you satisfaction, there really is a satisfaction to washing a car and seeing it when it's done.
Well, I get stuck sometimes watching, I don't know how much you watch, like TikTok or Reels or whatever, where it'll feed you whatever you hover over longer.
Yeah.
It'll keep feeding you that stuff. And I end up watching like things that are being restored, like cars being washed or driveways that are being power sprayed or lawns that are being that were a mess, a guy comes in and completely mows it and like clears all the weeds and everything, and it keeps feeding me those, and I'm like, I don't know why it's so satisfying to see something so horrible, and then you're like, oh, it's so pristine now.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's not some kind of like purge. Maybe you feel dirty inside and you crave organization and cleanliness.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything there?
It could be.
Were you raised religious?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's why I like those videos?
Yeah, it's purging. It's clearing out all the sin. It's clearing out the lustful thoughts, the masturbation, the thinking about male comics. You were a little too fast with that list. It was a little weird. You just started,
Listen. All right, what we didn't show is I gave Greg 30 names, and he had to cut it out of the podcast. I started listing them off.
And I was 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd Barry was 30.
Yeah. Which is weird that you guys were back to back.
I know. Yeah. Who's the least attractive comedian? Eddie Pepitone?
Love you, Eddie, but maybe.
But I think he's working that angle, though.
He's leaning into it. He's literally, he's grown a mustache recently. I swear sometimes he, like the way he dresses and everything, he's like, I'm going to lean into this.
Yeah. Eddie's one of those guys that if he's on stage, I'm in the back row watching. Every set.
I love watching.
I love watching Eddie Pepitone because you really don't get the same set twice.
No.
He's going to go... He's going to react to the guy who went on before him, which I always love.
I love following him or going before him.
Yeah.
Because I love when he watches my sets from the back because he has a very distinct laugh. And I'm like, if I got Eddie, then I'm feeling good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love getting an Eddie laugh.
Yeah.
It's nice. All right, so you come out, you got $4,000. Where do you move into? How do you find a place?
Craigslist, baby.
And who'd you move in with?
Stranger.
Nice.
Two strangers. One of them was really nice. Dude from India who was in film school out here. Other guy, biggest pig I've ever met in my life.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm a very, I would consider myself, I'm very nice to a point.
Yeah.
And then I have a little bit of the Irish rage in me that will boil up.
Yeah.
I would get in shouting matches with this dude over how big of a mess he would leave and how it wasn't my, I'm like, I'm not your mom. I don't need to clean up after you. Get your stuff and get it. Like it was to the point where he would leave dishes where it would, if I didn't clean them, there would be like flies on it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can't live like this, dude. I'm not going to live like this.
Right.
Yeah.
So you moved out?
No. We butted heads for years.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived there at that same spot. He eventually moved out. I outstayed him at the place.
Okay.
He eventually moved out. He got into law school.
Wow.
And yeah, he moved to pursue that.
And we know how you need cleanliness. You need things cleaned and and forgiven. That's what it is.
Next to godliness, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what my mom would teach.
Do you retain any of your religious upbringing?
I do. It's very LA of me the way I talk about it now, but I'm a very spiritual person.
Right.
You know, I still believe in God. I still pray. I don't like the organized side of religion, really. It's not.
We're on the
me.
same page, my friend. I was raised very Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
I did all the sacraments in the church every Sunday and classes on Wednesday. And I think it's beautiful to have a relationship with God. I think it is something that gives me a foundation in believing that there's goodness and that there's an order and that there's grace and forgiveness. You know.
Yeah, hoping and believing in the best of people. You know? There's some people that are like, no, people are all like, you know, we're all horrible. It's like, I don't believe that. I think that there really is good in everybody, but sometimes you just got to excavate it a little bit more with other people.
Yeah, right. And that's the joy, is when you can find that in somebody and nobody else is looking for it. They love you. If you can, even if it's just an exchange with a cashier who's surly, and you take the time to ask her how her day is and maybe make a fun comment, and you get her to laugh, and you come back next time, she lights up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you find that comic that's curmudgeonly and people kind of avoid, and you find a way to, you know, break through, I mean, that's a friend for life.
For sure. I've had a couple comic friends that, I had a couple friends that I felt like they treated me like garbage for a long time, but I just stayed, you know, the course, and we're really good friends now because I think that they're like, all right, this guy doesn't want anything from me or anything. Like, that's the thing.
Who was it?
Well, there's a guy, we're pretty openly talking about a guy who can sometimes be you say curmudgeon. Yeah. Josh Martin is one of those guys.
Yeah.
Where, you know,
it's tough with
we were
him,
good
though.
friends. We had a little bit of falling out for a while, and we're good friends again. But I'm one of those guys who I try to throw positivity his way.
Yep. That's a good example, because he is difficult.
There's some people that, you know, tend to be more in a neutral area, or they live more on the positive side or the negative side.
Yeah.
You know, that's the spectrum of comics that we're constantly around. Some people are naturally, they come in with that heavy rain cloud over them to the store or whatever spot they're at. And then there's other people that are like, hey, I'm here. Ready to kill it? Move on. Yeah. And then there's other people that are like, we'll see.
I know.
Yeah.
And it is sometimes the darker ones can be a lot more interesting. And I think in New York, coming up more in New York, I was around the darker people, and those are the ones I trusted, because there was an honesty, at least, with them.
Annie Letterman did not trust me for a long time until she saw me get angry a few times, and then she goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like you. I just saw you. I saw the anger in there, a little bit of evil.
Yeah, I need to see that.
She needed to see that.
I got really excited when you told me about yelling at that roommate. I was like, oh, good. I want to see that part of Jeremiah.
Yeah, it doesn't come out very often, but the people who, Jamar Neighbors and Willie Hunter, I did the Wave with them on Roast Battle for years. They always quote me doing this thing. Jeff Ross called us after our first night of taping for Comedy Central in Montreal, and he kind of reamed me and took it out on me. And I was so pissed because we had just ran around all day getting props, making sure the show was good, and it wasn't a good show.
Yeah.
But it was more, in my opinion, because of the jokes weren't good, nothing that we were necessarily doing. But he needed to take it out on somebody, and I was that guy, and I got off the phone, and Willie and Jamar were next to me, and I go, oh, he thinks we didn't go hard enough, that we weren't good enough? We're going to go ballistic tonight. And they just saw me they always quote, they look at me, they're like, are you going to go ballistic, Jeremiah? You're going to go ballistic, buddy?
I want to see a tape of that show.
Yeah.
Was that a good episode, the next one?
The next one we killed.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah,
I'm a very competitive person too.
Right.
There's, with anger, if you can control it, it's very effective.
Use it like a laser. Absolutely. Yeah. That's good. That's good. And who would you say, what comic would you say you're most competitive with? Like, because Jeff was a guy I was very competitive with. We came up in New York at the same time.
Okay.
And we both watched each other, and we're dear friends.
Yeah.
But there was definitely an element at that time of like, fucking Jeff got Letterman? How come I didn't get Letterman?
Right.
You know, and that person would drive, and that would drive you to work harder.
Sure. Ooh, that's a good question. I'd have to think about that because I constantly am trying to...
Tony Hinchcliffe.
That's a good one. And Tony is a good friend.
Of course.
We've been around the world together, did Kill Tony together for years.
Yeah.
And he took me on my first legit tour. We did he did a Monster Energy drink tour where we hit pretty much every market in the nation.
Wow.
And we drove a lot in between. So, I mean, as far as gigs, I've done more gigs with Tony than anybody.
Yeah.
So that might be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely he's ahead of me in like as far as like the classes go or whatever. So there's definitely that inspiration always to be like, oh, what's going on here? Like, how can I create my own thing? You know, I was a part of Kill Tony for a long time, and when they moved to Austin, and I stayed in LA, that was a choice. They're like, do you want to come to Austin? I was like, no. I think we're we're all on good terms, but I think we're done.
Right.
And that really motivated me. I'm like, Kill Tony is a big part of how people associate me with
how you draw on the road.
How I draw on the road. And I was like, I gotta create my own stuff.
Yeah.
And that was where Scissor Bros was born, and that was where Stand Up on the Spot, we started filming them just in the last year or so. Those are the things that are a couple of the things that people come to see me on the road because of now.
Yeah.
Which is huge because Kill Tony is a big show and it's only getting bigger. So I was like, I need to focus on myself and create some new projects. Otherwise, like, I don't want to be that guy who like, didn't he used to be on that one thing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But what are you doing now? You're the voice on what, a Marvel thing or?
Voice of the Joker on Cartoon Network's DC Superhero Girls.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And what does he sound like?
What does he sound like?
Yeah.
Let me warm up this voice a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my Joker. It's got some Hamill influence, obviously, because he's the GOAT. But
well. So great to be here on Craig Fitzsimmons' Fitzdog Radio. Oh, loving every moment of it.
That's a workout on the vocal cords, huh?
Oh, when I did the sessions for it, I'd be drenched.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're moving around the whole time.
Moving around, it's very physically, like the nuances of the mic control and everything.
A lot of screaming and then a lot of whispering. Yes, very, very lightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that, how many episodes was that?
Did a couple episodes, and waiting to see if I get to do more stuff with Cartoon Network. But
nice.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's stoner TV. That's what all the stoners watch, and those are the ones that come out to shows. That's good to have.
So I've had people just in this last year who like, my daughter watches that show. I didn't know there was you, and then I saw on your like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I grew up with the Batman animated series, so I'm a huge Batman fan and Joker and all that stuff. So, yeah, it was a cool gig for sure.
All right, here's some questions I want to ask you. What is the greatest comedy performance you've ever had?
I'm gonna say. I always think of this particular one, and it's not
because your performances, you're like an Eddie Pepitone. There's no two shows that are the same.
Right.
You mix it up. You're in the moment. You're kind of like speaking your thoughts. Mm-hmm. So when you perform like that, you can sometimes have these magic sets where you're just totally in tune.
Yeah. One that comes to mind, and the only reason why I will say this is one of the greatest sets is because I really do think that this had a huge play in my wife and I getting together.
Okay.
So I will classify that as probably one of my best shows still.
Because it's why we all got into comedy. I don't care who you are. You got into it to meet girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, we had gone on a date. Date went great. Kissed her at the end of the night. She calls me the next day.
You asked her out? How'd you meet her?
I asked her out at Second City, actually, in Los Angeles.
Was she a performer?
She was doing improv at the time. She is a social and emotional learning specialist now.
Oh,
she
that's
uses
right. I knew
improv.
that. Yeah.
To teach kids
that's amazing.
on the autism spectrum, improv to help their social skills and all that stuff. So she used it for that. I use it for stand-up and comedy and stuff like that. But date went great. I thought I killed it on that front. And then she's like, I think we should just be friends. The next day, she calls me. I think we should just be friends. I go.
After you kissed her?
Yeah. And I'm like, I go, that's fine for now. I was just stayed in the pocket. I was like, it's all good. That's fine for now. And she's like, she said later, it really messed with her for a long time that I was so chill. And I said, that's fine for now. She's like, what does that even mean?
That's fine for now. But when you're in the trunk of my car,
exactly.
I think things are going to be different.
Yeah. I'll see you tonight when you're bound with rope and we'll see if you reconsider.
Yeah. I'll see you later. You won't see me.
Yeah.
Because you'll be bound and gagged. Yeah.
So basically, we weren't dating for a bit, and I invited her to a show at the Comedy Store in the main room. And this was a point where I was doing this was before I knew better. I was starting to have every once in a while some killer sets.
Yeah.
But I didn't really hadn't really felt what killing was really like too often, if that makes sense. Still a couple years into comedy, still early on. And I had this set. It was a bringer show, and I was one of the only comics who literally had jokes, who was like doing the thing where I was doing the mics, and I was getting up every night, and it was such a difference when I took the stage versus the other comics who was just kind of paying to play.
Yeah.
Where I went on and I just crushed so hard.
Yeah.
To the point where when I was sitting watching the show later, Leslie Jones walked by me and she was like, she stopped. She goes, "You were funny."
In front of the girl, in front of your wife?
No, just it was me just watching the show like in the back. But I was like, oh, that's a real comic telling me. Basically, you were funny. All these other people, because she did a pop-in, she's like, all these other people that she had to watch before she went up sucked.
All right.
But my wife and I, we started dating like a little bit after that, like a few weeks or so after that. But I really think that had a huge play in us dating again.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I brought my wife to see me on our second date. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember fucking somebody really good went on right ahead of me. I was like, fuck. I think Louie popped in and went on right ahead of me. I was like, fuck, now she's going to like Louie. All right, so you finish Second City.
Yeah.
And then you go out, you get an agent or a manager after that?
I went through, I've done literally, like, it's actually amazing how far, where even to the point where I've gotten right now, like I've failed at all the things.
Yeah.
Like kept failing over and over and figuring out what not to do.
Right.
I was going on Craigslist auditions by myself. I've got real weird Craigslist audition
What's the worst audition you ever went on?
I mean, this is kind of a longer story, but I'll tell you the gist of it. The worst audition is a guy. I was auditioning for a guy on toilet. And I self-submitted, Greg.
No, you didn't.
This is how desperate I was. I was like, I can do that.
It's some German fetish guy.
Weird you say that.
Oh.
It was a European company.
Really?
Very bizarre. It's a very long story. I'll give you some cliff notes of it. But while I'm in the audition room, this guy, the casting director, is like, all right, I need you to act like you're taking a shit. This is how he's talking to me. Like, no, like, okay, so no, like smoothing it out at all.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so, maybe you have some stomach problems. He's like, you're taking a fat shit, all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just going straight in on the way he's giving me the notes on running the session. And then he's coaching me while I'm doing this.
Like a birthing coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, push harder. And you know me, you've seen me on stage. I commit to everything.
Sure.
So I'm just really going for it. He's like, now you're jerking off. I'm like, what?
No way.
Yeah. He's like, you want? He goes, stay in it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, he's like, but you like it, but you still need to cut this turd. I'm like, saying gross stuff to the point of like when I leave the room, I'm like, what did I just do in there?
And who did I do it for?
And who did I do it for?
Yeah, right.
Because this is just, I don't know where these tapes go or whatever. I hope, honestly, I hope that tape resurfaces someday so I can see it. Yeah. It's so embarrassing. Like, it's so just
You didn't pull your
demeaning.
pants down to your ankles, did you?
No.
Okay,
All
right.
No.
All right.
I definitely mimed it, though,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Have you ever not finished a set on stage?
Ooh, walked off? No, but I got pulled off once. Corporate gig.
No shit.
Yeah. Not like physically, but it was actually, it's one of the worst bombs, and this happened in this last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where was it?
I'll say now, it was at the Irvine Improv.
Uh-huh. And you got hired and paid to do a corporate, so it was good money. Better than regular.
It was corporate for the Improv, so it wasn't like crazy corporate money. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it was a religious school, like a grade school that I was doing a show for.
Don't do a comedy benefit. If you're a religious school, it's not going to end well.
Well, and I was doing a lot of my clean stuff that I've submitted for late night over the years. It was too much for them.
Really?
The late night stuff was like, I was literally doing like analogies that were like Shrek-like humor.
Uh-huh.
Like with the word screw.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
How'd
they pull you off?
It sucked. It was, guy came up out of the audience. Excuse me. I think we're done here.
No.
Yeah. I go, what? I go, really? That crossed the line for you?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, it's my job to protect these kids.
Oh, there were kids in the audience?
Yeah, it was for a grade school.
Oh, I thought it was a benefit for the kids.
No,
I didn't know
no.
the kids were actually there.
The kids were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, I have to protect these kids.
Yeah.
This is where I was so mad, but I was trying to keep my cool as much as possible. And I go, okay, you came to a stand-up show. What you just did right now, he goes, we're trying to be a good example for these kids. I go, and what you just did right now is the worst example of what to do at a stand-up show.
Yeah.
I said, you rushed to the middle of the room. I thought there was an emergency or something, that somebody got hurt or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to do my thing, but you're literally the worst example of what to do at a show.
Yeah.
So give it up for that, kids. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Crickets. Because now they're like, they're scared.
They're afraid of this guy.
They're afraid of what's happening between me and their principal or whoever it was.
Right.
And I even said, I'm competitive. I'm like, no, okay, if that's, I said, let me smooth this out. Let me get back into it. I said from the mic, I tried to fix it because they had me booked for like 40 minutes. This was 8 minutes in.
Oh, God.
And I go in, I do a few more minutes, and they alerted. I could see the staff whispering and stuff. I said something else that they start flicking the light on me. And then I see and I keep going. Even with the light, I'm like, I'm finishing this set. I don't freaking care. The manager comes out from the back who works at the Improv. He goes,
oh, wow. Gave you the cut sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're done.
Wow.
And still got paid, but I felt horrible because I felt like I lost.
Yeah. Right.
I was like, I wanted to do the thing.
Yeah, and you grew up religious. There's a part of you that probably felt like guilt and shame because it was a church.
Well, it's the way that they did it too. Yeah, no, it was all those things.
Yeah.
I was so upset, and then they literally started saying like dad jokes from the internet right afterwards. From the teachers were saying it. And it was killing with the kids, and I was like, why didn't you guys just do this?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Ugh.
Yeah, but it felt very icky. Like I drove home from Irvine, I was heated.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Oh, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Last question, then we're going to play a game.
All right.
What's the hackiest bit you've ever done?
I did. There was some stool humping.
Yes, there was.
And there was some stool humping.
Yeah.
That I had to cut out of my act. That would crush.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing about the stool. You hump it, you're going to crush.
I would take it to the ground.
Uh-huh.
Greg. And this thing, it did not matter what room I was in.
Yeah.
Except one time. I did a stool humping with Bobby Lee for a corporate gig, and it got nothing. And the only person who was laughing in the back of this giant ballroom backstage was Bobby, just cackling. I'm humping his stool, just trying to open, trying to get it going for him.
Yeah. No.
And this thing, and I started laughing while I was humping it because I was getting nothing from the crowd.
Yeah.
So I'm just like humping on the floor.
Right.
I just hear Bobby's laugh, and then that starts making me laugh because I know it's only Bobby laughing in the back. Yeah, I had to take out hool stumping. It was the first year or two that I was doing stand-up. It was just part of my act.
Yeah.
I would do it, and it would
I think it's perfunctory. I think you have to do it in the first 2 years of your act.
I mean, I had it built into bits.
Yeah.
I did it in multiple bits.
Uh-huh. They had to wipe the stool down when you were done before the next guy came up.
Oh, it was covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that comes to mind immediately. I also, a joke that I used to tell, I feel like it's very hacky. It's a male thing just in the last like 10 years or so where I used to have longer hair, and like just saying that you look like a lesbian, I feel like is like a kind of a hacky thing that's been said by so many comics over the years, where I'm like, when I cut my hair, I was like, oh yeah, I need to stop making these kind of jokes. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like it would get a huge pop. I would walk out and go, I know what you're thinking. Just another lesbian comic. Off to the races.
Yeah.
You know?
It's tough because when you're coming up and you're desperate to get good laughs and you're getting bad spots in front of few people and you got a bit that you know is going to crush, the idea of dropping it, it's hard. It's one of the hardest things a comic has to do to get good is to let go of stuff that kills but isn't right for you. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the bits that I actually put in my special used to have stool humping in it. But the bit, I kept working on it and got it strong enough where I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah. Good.
So.
All right, now we're going to play a game, as we do on Fitzdog Radio. It's called Talk Your Way Out of It.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a situation. Could be uncomfortable. Could be a little difficult. You are going to, off the top of your head, look at me and talk your way out of it, as if I'm the person. Okay. You do Ancestry DNA. 6 months later, kid shows up at the Comedy Store and says, you're his dad. He wants to be a stand-up comedian, but you can tell he's not funny. Wants you to take him on the road and open for you. Talk your way out of it.
Listen, you seem like an artistic kid.
Uh-huh.
So what about, some other kind of public speaking that we can maybe get you into?
But I feel like I have a gift, like you. I got it from you.
We'll look at the test. We'll look at that. Not that you're not, but this is just sorry. This is a lot for me. all at once, you might feel like you have the bug, but it also might be a bug that's like a flu that might need to go away eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm your son, and you're great, so wouldn't that make me great?
I think that you're going to have to, if you want to be like me.
Yes, I do.
Oh, great. Okay.
You're my father.
Then we need to get you to some open mics. Before, I didn't have somebody just take me on the road just when I was starting out. Like, I had to work for it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dad. Can you hook me up with some open mics?
I'll give you a list to go to, and that's all I can do.
That's the guy with the boundaries. That's the guy who doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's literally, now that I have a son and I have another son on the way, like that's a nightmare that you just presented.
Yeah.
I'm praying that my son does not want anything to do with this.
Yeah. It's actually the plot of a movie that I just did a movie with Doug Stanhope. He was the star of it, and it's about this kid. It's a son of his that's getting into stand-up, and he wants him to help him out. And Doug just won Best Actor we got into a couple festivals, and he won Best Actor. And the film, it's called Road Dog. The film won Best Film at the
That's awesome.
Hollywood Critics' Choice, or one of the. It was a good festival.
He's great. Dude.
Yeah, Doug's great. All right, listen, we're gonna tell people to come out. First of all, watch the special. It's called Daddy. Mm-hmm. It's very funny. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you should be very proud of it. It's your second special, right?
Second special.
Yeah. And then you can go and see Jeremiah live in New York City at the New York Comedy Club on April 4th. And then in Austin, Texas, April 19th to the 22nd at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival. May 8th through the 10th, the Laugh Factory in Las Vegas, Nevada. July 13th through 15th, Kansas City, Missouri at the Comedy Club. We already talked about it. It's a great club.
Yeah.
All tickets are at
JeremiahWatkins.com. The special's at YouTube.com/JeremiahWatkins, or you can just search for Jeremiah Watkins Daddy.
By the way, my condolences. I always, when I put my little script together when I interview a guest, I always, Google their name. And here's what came up. Daryl Gene Watkins, 59, of Elijah, Georgia, died on March 7th. He was a carpet manufacturer, and he was the son of the late James and Doris Jean Maynard Watkins. The pallbearers were Kevin Watkins, Matthew Watkins, Austin Watkins, and Jeremiah Watkins.
It was a heavy casket. Yeah.
Seems like they needed a couple more guys on that one.
Yeah.
Never heard of this guy?
No.
Isn't that weird that there would be another Jeremiah Watkins?
That is. White guy or black guy who died?
It was at the Salem Baptist Church Cemetery. Baptist tends to be black, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of Watkins that are black.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But Jeremiah?
Do you know the comic Royale Watkins?
Sure. Yeah.
He followed me once at the Improv, and he's like, yeah, keep going for Jeremiah Watkins. His family used to own my family. I was like, oh, dude.
Which doesn't help that he has green eyes.
Yeah.
He's a black guy with green eyes.
Yeah. That was hilarious. It was like, killed. Oh, my goodness.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks
Great
for
having
having
you.
me. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.